We are finally back doing some jobbing plumbing. So I've never seen a siphon like it. This is a ceramic Twyford's siphon. Now, I've never seen one of them before, and I said to Ian, when this comes out, let me keep that. It might be coming out sooner rather than later. Do a lot of jobbing around, a lot of tap changes. Honestly, they're not cheap, but they're worth every penny. I'm between a couple of jobs, so I've just popped up to the unit because a lot of people said, give us a bit of a rundown of it, and as you're building it up, just let us know. There's randomly chunks of wood inside holding the siphon in. I've done it so many times, just not thinking, screwed it in, but with the blank facing down, and you're like, why is the nut not going on? Most customers give me a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, a biscuit, whereas Ian has given me this. Ta-da! Check that out, how cool is that? We are finally back doing some jobbing plumbing. It's been a while because we've been working on that bathroom renovation. That has been 4 parts, 4 episodes. If you haven't seen it, I'll pop a link up here. Go and watch the full bathroom renovation that I've recently done. Anyway, that is now finished, done. We've got to catch up on a load of little jobs. So first job, we're gonna need the Nurad Tapex kit, because we've got taps to change, we've got washing machine pipework to put in, we've got radiators to take out, and we've also got something else, fix a toilet siphon. So this video is going to be jobbing around a little bit, catching up on jobs that I've put back while doing that bathroom renovation. So first off, let's grab the Nurad Tapex kit and go and do some proper jobbing around plumbing. I'm Mark, this is Real World Plumbing. Hit the subscribe button, give it a thumbs up, let's go. So we're in a little tight, small bathroom that, funny enough, I did probably 7 years ago, way before I started YouTube. So it is a really small little bathroom. We've got a shower here, little quadrant tray. These units went in here, toilet, and the tap has started leaking, as you can see at the back here. It's coming out of here. You can see all the limescale build-up. Where I am, over in the Midlands in Warwick, the water here is terrible. You can see it's all built up on the tap, but it's passing the back there, and what it's done, the water seeped in to the back of the unit here. So we are going to sort the back of that, but for today we're just going to get the tap swapped out so it doesn't carry on leaking. But Si, my mate, has asked me what we can do with this. Now we can't take just that unit out because it's all in line and fitted in. So what I've said to my mate is, if we get this off at a later date, I haven't got time to do it today, but if we get this off, seal this in, and then put another bit of finished timber along the back that's going to be the same sort of colour as the units and whatnot. Run that along the back so it sort of comes out to here. It'll just finish that off and seal it in. We can silicone the top and whatnot. But first of all, we've got to get this tap changed. Got the replacement one here, fairly similar. Si was like, get something that looks pretty similar, so we've done that, and then underneath a couple of isolation valves up there on flexes, so we can get them off, get it isolated, whip this tap out. But where the back of the tap is, I don't know if you can see it up there, that's why the Nurad Tapex kit's out, because that will just shoot up the back, get that tap off really easy. Right, let's get the water off and get this out. So these Tapex kits are so handy to have in the van. If you do a lot of jobbing around, a lot of tap changes, honestly, they're not cheap, but they're worth every penny you get. All the different sizes in it, you know, you've got sort of 10mm, 11, 12mm along there. And also the extendable bar that comes out, you can slide that up to wherever you want it. And then you get the adapter. Where is it for this one? Then you get the adapter, goes on the end there, and then onto there, and it gives you like a knuckle, so you can get up behind, you can have it on the angle, and it will reach up. And to be honest, I have not had a tap that I couldn't get to with this kit. The only issue you have with it is sometimes, you know, in the threaded bar, we've got a bar here. Yeah, you know, when the threaded bar is sometimes longer, it doesn't allow you to get that socket on if you've got a really long threaded bar. But Nurad have made an extension kit with longer sockets, so to be honest I need to get one of them because they're really handy. But this one is a 9mm nut on the back of it, so just clip that on, get the little ratchet on the bottom there, and then that is the setup for this tap. So with those nuts undone off the back, this just slides out, straightforward enough. Give that a little wipe over while we're here. And get the new tap made up and popped in. So I've got the new tap and we'll just pop the flexes in. And to be honest, you just need to tighten them in and just hand tighten them and give it a nip up. Now, my little issue has always been you can never get in there with a pair of grips to tighten it up. So just hand tighten it and they always seem to be alright. As you can see, it's got those little marks on the hose. And then always, I've done this, let me know in the comments if you've done this. You got the bar, the threaded bar that comes with it, and this is the bit here that goes into the tap, and there's a bit of a blank in there. I've done it so many times, just not thinking, screwed it in, but with the blank facing down. So then when you come to screw your nut on, you get to that point and you're like, why is the nut not going on? Honestly, sometimes in plumbing you just do things that often you forget to do the basics. So screw that in like so, up to that blank, put the washer on underneath. And drop the tap into place. Just feed that in. So there we go. Right, I'm going to give that a bit of a clean up because you can see a little bit around where the tap is. So with the tap in place now, we've got to get the back washer and plate on and the nut. This is where that Tapex kit comes back in to get back around the back of the basin, get it connected in. So there we go, in place, and we've had to put the 12mm socket on. That was 9, the one that come out, and the one that's going in is 12. So we've got that on. Let's reach it up the back of there and get it tightened back up. Then it's just a case of reconnecting the hoses back onto the isolation valves. So the trick with connecting flexes onto isolation valves, because it's not a flat top edge on the top of the isolation valve, it's quite chamfered because it's usually made for an olive. Don't absolutely hang off your grips or your spanner to tighten them up. Nip them up and they're fine. I've never had an issue with it in years and years. So people will say you should use a flat face one. Yeah, you can do, but you can also use a normal one as long as you don't massively tighten it up, which I haven't done here. So if I can find my slotted screwdriver, we can get the water back on. And 2 back on. Let's give it a test. Leave that to run for a little bit. So we leave that to run through, let the hot water come out, and we can tidy up. So that is the first of a few little jobbing jobs done. So often in the plumbing and heating trade, or any trade to be honest, across the board, you'll meet people and you'll say to them, I'm a plumber or a carpenter, and they'll go, oh, give me your number, and if I need anything doing, I'll give you a shout. This is a prime example of it. Now, I met this person about 6 months ago at a bit of an event, and we got on and I said to him, Ian, if ever you need anything doing plumbing wise, give me a shout, and he has done. Now, the thing with Ian is, he is quite well known in the car scene. As you'll know, I'm massively into my cars, so I've known of Ian for years and years and what he does. So to sort of meet him and build up a little bit of rapport with him was great. Anyway, he's just recently bought a new house and he's messaged me and said, Mark, would you come over and do a straightforward little job to start with, just plumbing the connections for our washing machine. Now, Ian, if you're into the car scene, you may know, is also known as Pop Van Colour. And here, I'll show you his van. You think I've got a cool van. Obviously, you've seen my van about. You think I've got a cool van. Ian's van stands out a little bit more than mine. You might have seen him if you're into sort of the car scene. He's always at places like Goodwood, Festival of Speed. He worked with a lot of high-end influencers and car brands. He's worked with Shmee, Tim. He's worked with Mark McCann. He's done drawings for Mark McCann, because what Ian does is automotive drawing in his style, his Pop Van Colour style. Now, Ian's done something for me and massively surprised me this morning with it. So I'm going to get his washing machine connections in, and then I'm going to show you just what Ian's done for me as a thank you for doing this for him. But first off, let me show you exactly what we've got to do. So a fairly straightforward job, to be honest. He's got a cold feed at the minute. This is going out to feed his outside tap the other side of the wall, and he wants a washing machine putting in here. So all we've got to do is pull a cold feed off here, up, clip to the wall, isolation valve on the top. What I am going to do is put an isolation valve in there so we can turn his outside tap off, and then we'll put an isolation valve on there so we can isolate his washing machine if ever need be. Don't worry, there is a double check valve tap on the other side, so it is what it is. That is what he's got there. So we're going to put an isolation on it, and then he's going to be able to isolate the outside tap from the washing machine. But first of all, we're going to cut into here, obviously put a T into it, put our isolation on, and then we've got to drill through and put a waste pipe in into this gully here that runs away there. So, as I said, fairly straightforward, but this is what I always say to people about speak to people that you meet, let them know what you do for a living, because it always has a knock-on effect. So Ian's moving into his house now. He's going to get me to do a load of other little bits as and when they crop up. But to start off, obviously, he needs his washing machine in. So let's get the water off, let's cut into that main and get a connection made. So with that turned off, let's cut into this main about here. We are going to get a little bit of water out of it, just because there's no other way to drain it down until we cut it. Right, what I've had to do is swap out the bit of pipe that was coming out of that stop tap. This is it, because if you look at this fitting, it just doesn't go on. It goes on a tiny bit, literally that much, and then it binds up. It's like this is bigger copper, if that makes sense, bigger 15mm. I've never seen it. I've seen smaller or bigger 22mm 3/4, but never 15mm. It just won't fit on the fitting. So I've took it out the stop tap. Obviously it's passing a little bit, we're going to get that sorted. Took out the stop tap and swapped it for another bit of copper and a nut there. So I'm going to get this pressed up, elbow and a isolation valve on there, and the same off the top, like so that the water's not passing as much. So we'll get that in there, and we'll get the same across the bottom. So if we put that into there, people can work out exactly where our elbow needs to go. Straightforward as that. Cold feed is in now for the washing machine. Isolation valve, isolation valve, obviously tap the washing machine. Going to bang a bit of lagging on there, and then we've got to get the waste out. So for the hockey stick, the washing machine waste pipe, we're going to mount it just there, and then pop the Ibenstock drill bit straight through there. Now these Ibenstock drills, I think I've said it before, are perfect for stuff like this. These are proper old school bricks, so it's tough old bricks, but we'll bang this straight through there, and then we'll get the waste connected. So I thought I'd let this little bit of the video run in full time. It's 40 seconds, give or take, for this drill bit to get through this brickwork. Now, this brickwork is old school, hard as nails brick that is also really damp, and it's been outside, and you know what it's like when you're trying to drill a old, cold, damp, wet brick. It's proper hard work. So this drill bit goes straight through, as you can see. Now, if you are enjoying this video and all the other videos on the channel, hit the subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up. It really does help make the content and put it out there for you guys. So give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button. There you go, job done, straight through. And that is why these are so good. Literally a minute and it was straight through there. Right, with that hole drilled through the wall, we'll put a little pipe snug on there just to finish it off so it's nice and neat. And then got a little bit of pipe, pop that through like that. Looks nice and neat then. And then we can come off here with our hockey stick. There you go, simple as that. Coal feed in to feed the washing machine, isolation valve on it. We just need to finish lagging it off. And then just round the side is where we've poked it down into this drain down there. Let's quickly get out of the rain. But what they're also going to do inside here, we've obviously got to get a fuse spur in here. And because this is an outside building, they're going to have it insulated. And I've said to them, just put a little fan, little heater fan, that when it gets down to say 4 or 5 degrees, it'll just cut in, and then you'll never have a problem with that pipework freezing up. So that's that done. Let me show you what Ian's done for me. Right, so with that done, most customers give me a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, a biscuit, whereas Ian has given me this. Ta-da! Check that out. How cool is that? So obviously I've mentioned it already in the video. Ian, Pop Bang Colour, does, wow, you tell us, what do you do, Ian?
I do two things. I paint and I draw. So big paintings done with radio controlled cars. So if you need to kind of have a big colourful thing on your wall, there's your paintings. But in a more kind of gift-led, fun way as well. This is continuous car drawings, all doing one single line without taking the pen off the paper. And after coming back from an event last night, I was like, I need to go and draw the van.
That was cool. So Ian pinged me a message this morning over on WhatsApp with, I'll drop it into this video, the actual footage of him drawing it. And you do all the outline, don't you? One continuously,
one single line,
even into the signature.
Yeah, so it starts about here and then to the single line, and then over about an hour and a half, I then rework into it. So I managed to find an image of your van, I screenshot from your Instagram, and I think it's part of in Warwick somewhere.
Deep dive into my Instagram.
Yeah, I was like, right, I need to find the right angle. Found the right angle, and then found your logo on your Facebook page as well. So drop the logo in there, and then we could, I think mugs.
Yeah,
hang that mugs, on a mug.
Canvases. Oh, I've just got a new lockup, so I could have it blown up as a big canvas in a lockup. So what I'll do, I'll add Ian's info into the description below, and I'm sure, like me, if you're into your car scene, you know who Ian is anyway. So I want to say massive thanks to Ian for doing that.
Pleasure.
So next person who I'm doing a job for, I don't want coffee and tea and biscuits anymore. You've got to upstage Ian's gift. So yeah, cheers Ian, thanks for that. So I'm between a couple of jobs. So I've just popped up to the unit because a lot of people said in my previous video when I said that I got a new unit, people was like, give us a bit of a rundown of it, and as you're building it up, just let us know what you're doing, show us around a little bit. So what I said in a previous video was, this far end, obviously we've got scaffold boards and whatnot up here. I wanted to cover this concrete bit up with some plyboard to make it a bit more of like a studio setting area down that far end. So I've just been and picked up 3 sheets of ply, which I've got to move all that stuff out of the way first. I'm going to put along that back board, and then we can screw stuff to it. But it just means that then if I have, for argument's sake, a camera set up here, we can do bag reviews and tool reviews and all that sort of stuff in this area. So let's get all this stuff out of the way, get that ply off the van and get this area plied out along this back wall. There we go, I'm happy with those two boards there. We've just got to trim the bottom bits now because that would massively annoy me if I didn't do those other little bits. But if we stand back here, I think that's going to be a pretty cool area. I'm going to have something made up in the middle, like sort of a bench or something that I can go behind, put the cameras this side and have it facing that way. I'm not too sure yet, but I'm sure in time it'll all come together. Right, let's get these bottom bits on, screwed into place, and then that'll be that end finished off. There we go, sorted, done. I'm happy now. I just didn't like that concrete bit that was along the back. There's a few little lines in there, but I'll fill them up. It's not a problem, but I think that's going to be a pretty cool area. So I'm going to have a little bit of a tidy up here, and then we need to go and get a few more little jobs done. Right then, I told you it was a jobbing sort of video, this one. So we're back over at Ian's house where I think I'll have put the video of me fitting his new washing machine outlets earlier on, which we've done outside there. A few weeks have passed. Ian's obviously renovating this house, so we're at a point now where we need things like the radiator coming off because he's going to take the tiles off ready for the new kitchen, take this pipework back. We've got to whip this rad off for him as well because it's got a big, it's not here. I think it might have seen it in the last video, the last part of this video where we were here. He's got a big arts piece going above there and we don't want the radiator underneath it, putting any heat up into the artwork. So we've got to take these two rads off. And also, this is the interesting bit. The toilet in this house, I've never seen a syphon like it. Obviously, over time, Ian's going to renovate the bathroom and whatnot, but this is broken on this toilet, but that's not the interesting bit. It's this. This is a ceramic Twyford's syphon. Now, I've never seen one of them before, and I said to Ian a few weeks ago, when this comes out, let me keep that because it's proper cool. It might be coming out sooner rather than later because this is broke. I may be able to get a part from another handle to make this work again, but it sort of moves around and there's timber holding it in. I don't know if you can make that out. There's timber there. So I'm going to have a look at that in a little while, but that is proper cool. I like that. So we're going to sort that out, but first of all, let's get the heating dropped, get these two rads off, cap off the pipework that's going around, feeding that rad in the kitchen, get it filled back up so it's all functional. Then we can have a look at that toilet. So this rad's coming off. As I said, the pipework's running along the back. They're not having a radiator back in here. We're going to put one on this part of the kitchen wall there, and we're going to have another small one over there so that that's not a problem heat-wise over there. We've got two pipes coming in here. So we're going to cut these and just pop two caps on them because we're not going to have anything back in the kitchen. So first of all, let's drain this down, get some caps on there and get that rad out. Right, to get this rad off, easy enough, we're just going to shut this valve off this side, this valve off this side, open it up, drain it into our little foldable bucket, get this out of the way, and then we can cut the pipes back through that wall into that cupboard. So with that rad off, we're also going to whip off this one here, same process. Obviously shut the valve off that side, shut the TRV off that side, get the bucket underneath it, open the vent and drop it down. But what we're also doing with that hose running is getting the water out the pipework so that we can get 2 cap ends onto those pipes there. And then when that's done, refill the system back up, pressurise it back up so that at least Ian's then got hot water coming out of the very rudimental kitchen that he's got. But that, I've just been chatting to him actually, he's just in the process of finalising the new kitchen layout that he's got going in. So we all know what it's like when you're renovating a house or doing anything in a house, there's constantly stuff going on. He's ripped this out, you've got the electrics just recently gone in. So yeah, there's always stuff to do, but getting these rads off means he's going to have this wall completely free to get the tiles off. So that rad off now, we've cut all the pipe work out, press gun in here, and we just pressed on 2 15mm caps onto them pipes there. And then all we've got to do to repressurise it, luckily on this Worcester, just pull that and then keep our eye on the pressure gauge there, get it back up to pressure, and then we're all good. So with those rads downstairs off now, I think what I'm going to do with this, because in time Ian's going to be replacing the bathroom, let's just put a new handle and reconnect this siphon, because it is working, it's just a little bit loose. I think that's, yeah, it's not leaking, I think that's just the way it is. Very strange, first one of these I've seen. So we'll just replace it with this little cheap handle just to get it up and running again. No point in changing the whole lot. A, because of time. B, there's no need to, it's all coming out. Let's get this swapped over. So I'm going to see, first of all, if I can just replace it with a new, I don't know what you call that, plunger connector. I just think it's just going to be dead tricky, to be honest. Let's see, because you've got to try and hold that up. We might do it. I might be able to get it. That's so fiddly. And it's slipping. Right. I think. I've got that. There we go. Let's see if we can get that in the handle now. There we go. Done. Done. As easy as that. Hopefully. No, I'm not happy with it. It's just too sort of not really doing a lot. So let's get the water off, get all of this out. So with the water off, we've got the cistern drain down. We're going to cut an isolation valve into here because there isn't one at the moment. It just makes life a lot easier. And then we're going to replace it with a Thomas Dudley turbo edge into here. I'll probably put a new handle on, and I've also got a new ball valve to go in there as well. So yeah, just basically completely refreshing that. By the time you've messed around with it, I'm just not sure why it's moving around like that, but we'll soon see. Let's get it out and get the new stuff in. So with the pipework disconnected off there, let's whip this nut off and take the old, there you go, the old ball valve and float out. I'm surprised that even floated, to be honest. Let's get an isolation valve on there and we get the water back on. So new isolation valve on, and I've just sucked all the water out the bottom of the cistern with the Aquavac. So handy for working on cisterns, any sort of siphon swap or whatnot. So we sucked the water out. There's randomly chunks of wood inside holding the siphon in. So strange. Right, let's get the handle off. I'm sure that'll come off. That'll come off easy enough. Let's get the handle off and get this siphon out. So with the handle out, let's get these nuts off the bottom. I'm just a little bit wary because there's some cracks and whatnot, or surface cracks in this cistern. Oh well, we're this deep into it now. Let's give it a go. tight. It's coming off now. See if this top will come off. Oh shit. So I've just undone these two nuts off here, but the siphon's just come out. I'm not sure exactly what's going on. Oh, I see. Right. Okay, so that's got this sort of flange already built into it. Let's see if we can get this out, because otherwise we're not going to be able to get the new siphon in. So it also had at the bottom another sort of fibre washer that has now allowed us to get that out. So that's sat in between the cistern like that. I've never seen anything like that. So hopefully the Thomas Dudley one will attach to this flush valve. Let's get these nuts off, clean it up and see where we're at. So the bottom nut and washer seem to have gone onto that flush pipe pretty well. So we've got the washer on the bottom of this turbo edge now. So if we, how's that going to work? Yeah, if we put that on there and then drop our siphon into there and try and marry it up like so. Oh, this might work, this. And then get that nut, back nut tightened in. Hopefully it's not going to be too bad now, but I did have a bit of a concern, to be honest. So let's push that up. Yeah, it should be okay. Let's get that. I just put it hand tight for now. And we'll tighten that up. And we'll get that tightened up. We'll just nip it up for now because I want to set it all inside and make sure it's all alright. But that is looking pretty good so far. So with the siphon in now, I've just put a new handle on. It's not going to sit flush because it's a square hole. I'm trying to get a square peg in a round hole. But as long as it gives us enough throw on that turbo edge, we're all good. So we're all good there. Right, let's get the new ball valve. We've been keeping a little bit. So the old one was like that we took out. Is it a type 1? I never get it right. Type 1's straight, type 2's got the bend on the end. But we'll get this ball valve in and get it reconnected. To be honest, I'm probably just going to connect that with a flexi. I know people are going to frown on it, but as I've said numerous times, this bathroom will be coming out and it's just a lot easier. I've got one in the van, pop it on, done. So let's get the last little bit done and then we can test and make sure it's all good. So this toilet siphon has been the first one of these I've ever seen in 30 years of plumbing. Also, I didn't know if it was going to come out without cracking the cistern and any other issues that come with something that you don't see from day to day. So quite enjoyed this little toilet siphon swap. Every day's a learning day. No one knows everything. The plot thickens with this toilet. It's the toilet that just keeps on giving. Now, if you look at where that inlet hole is there, it's really close to that flush valve. So if I put that valve in, it's going to catch constantly on that flush valve. I tried to tweak it a little bit, but it just won't allow me to do it. It just hasn't got enough give in that to be able to miss that valve. So we're going to use a Thomas Dudley HydroFlow in there and it will sit perfectly. Also, that means everything inside the cistern is now completely modern, so we should be all good. Right, let's get this tightened up that side, and then get a flexi onto it and get it filled up and tested. Right then, with all that in, let's get the water on. As I said, I've put a flexi on it. Ian's fine with it. This is all coming out. People will comment, I'm sure. Let's fill this up, get it tested, and make sure it's working right. And there we go, one modernised Paisley old school toilet and cistern with Thomas Dudley Turbo Edge and Thomas Dudley Hydroflow.